Okay, folks, thank you for being a gracious audience. And we are about to start our program. So we will ask again Ms. Sherry Ann Monroe to come forward and lead us off with the national anthem. Ms. Monroe.
Dear land of Guyana, to you will be gave our homage, our service each day that we live. God guide you, great mother, and make us to be more worthy our heritage, land of the free.
Thank you very much, Ms. Monroe, for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem. So it is my task here this afternoon not only to welcome you, but also to bring the report of the sports department for the academic year 2022-2023. First of all, I would like to acknowledge in our presence our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed Martin. Also in our presence, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Melissa Eiffel. We also have with us Registrar, Dr. Nigel Grazandi, Deputy Registrar, Dr. Theodosius Velosa, and honored members of faculty and staff, Professor Gomes from the UGBC, the University of Guyana Tain campus is with us, members of staff from Deputy Dean for Education and other members of staff. We'd like to acknowledge you and thank you for taking some time out to being with us. Also, thank you for the students and staff who've also given their time to be with us here to celebrate you, the students and staff who would have participated during the academic year 2022-2023 in our sporting activities. Restarting sports at the University of Guyana. And gracious apologies, it is because the face is so familiar. It is because the face is so familiar that I have forgotten our guest speaker, Dr. Karen Pilgrim, who has served numerous years in sports in Guyana. Apologies, Dr. Pilgrim, too familiar. The year 2022, academic year 2022-2023 saw the sports department come under new active management. The university has had stalwart leadership in the sports department for a number of years from Ms. Laverne Fraser Thomas, who is no longer with the sports department. So the sports department now has new blood, myself as a sports organizer, an assistant sports organizer, which was not present prior, and an old familiar face in our general assistant, Mr. Rene Callen. Restarting the sports program, we had some challenges, and this was obviously part and parcel due to the lack of students being on campus. You know, I think a lot of us, we got quite comfortable, maybe even some staff, we got comfortable working from home, and the engagement in activities with the university, especially sports, was not as it used to be. But I would like to thank, you know, those students, those staff, the sportsing staff who were re-engaged during that academic year, Coach Warren Wilson, and others who helped to really get that program up and running. During the year, we started our sporting activities with the King and Queen, traditional King and Queen Scrabble competition. We subsequently had the King and Queen chess competition, both of which had record numbers as attested by the student athletes themselves. We closed the fiscal year, the calendar year 2022 with the interfaculty dominoes competition, and moving into 2023, the second semester, we would have had the interfaculty cricket competition, which again, we can't say thank you enough for the UGBC for coming all the way down and getting involved in these activities. Now, we would like the sports department, in conjunction under the guidance of the Vice Chancellor and Registrar, Senior Assistant Registrar, Dr. Daniela King, would like to return sporting activities to the University of Guyana campus in a more vibrant manner. And during this time, we sought a lot of engagement with students during that academic year. We invited students to come in, register, share ideas with the sports department in ways giving us impetus on what they would like to get involved in. And out of that, a number of initiatives were started, looking to resuscitate the badminton program, martial arts, among other sports, football as well. Also, one of the main targets that we, the sports department, would have taken up, yet again, that was started prior, was to try and complete the sports policy for the university. This sports policy encompasses guidelines that would guide how sporting activities, both competitive and recreational, would run at the university, as well as having in place code of ethics policies for sporting staff and students as well, to govern the behaviors, attitudes, to make sure that we represent the university in the best light. These processes are currently ongoing. Both documents are in a working progress, so this is one of the tasks that we have put our hands to the wheel to try and get completed. Not to rush the document, because we would like to have a well-presented document so that long after I am here, sports at UG can continue to flourish under the leadership. We have also, in the efforts to get the sports policy, the code of ethics going, we've engaged human resources experts from overseas who are working with the university to make sure that these documents meet international standards, meet our standards at the university, but also reaches the needs of the student athletes, who are the most important stakeholders in this process. During the year, the academic year 2022-2023, we had some other challenges, but thanks to the leadership provided by Dr. Daniela King and the staff of the registry under the leadership of Dr. Grace Andy, we were able to garner support for our sports programs in financial times where all of the needs of our student athletes may not have been met, but we are working judiciously to ensure that the sports program at the University of Guyana going forward meets all the required needs, not only for recreational, but I know among us at the university, we have and would have had up to recently athletes who have represented this Guyana at the Olympic level. So I honestly believe we have a responsibility to those student athletes. All of you who are not here just to get an education, but are looking to continue your journey in sports, continue your sporting career, to help provide that pathway, to support your pathway in along your sporting journey, and providing the necessary guidelines to help you achieve the things that you need to achieve while you're at the University of Guyana. So without further ado, again, I would like to thank the student athletes, especially who would have participated in all our activities during the academic year 2022-2023, the staff of the registry, and all other departments for your assistance, and we look forward to the continued support in this coming year. I would like to now invite Dr. Nigel Grizandi, our registrar, to give some remarks to those present. Dr. Grizandi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Skeet, sports organizer. I'd like to acknowledge and recognize our Vice Chancellor. Her presence here is reflective, I submit, of her commitment to be extremely supportive of the visioning for the integration of sports in a serious way into our academy. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for being here, and we welcome you. I'd like to also welcome our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Eiffel, who's been working assiduously with our department in providing us with a frame for getting our sports policy and our sports program rolled out. Your input has been immeasurable in terms of the advances that we've made, and I'd like to thank you for your presence joining us. To our featured speaker, Dr. Karen Pilgrim, who is a board member of the Regional Anti-Doping Organization, we look forward to your address and the counsel that you will provide to our student athletes. To the staff of the sports department, to you, Mr. Skeet, and your team, and I want to single out the hard-working coaches that have really kept sports alive in a period where we had a hiatus. Certainly for the leadership of the registry, your efforts have not gone unnoticed, and for the support that you would have provided to the sports officer, the sports organizer, we are extremely grateful. But sports at a tertiary institution, and certainly in the case of the University of Guyana, requires broad collaboration. There are important stakeholders, students themselves, the administration of the university, the coaches, the athletes, the various national sporting organizations, the ministry, all coming together in a synergistic fashion, complementing what we are attempting to do here. And I'm really pleased for the leadership provided all round in ensuring that while the country stood still largely during COVID, opportunities were found for engagement with our student athletes. And this becomes instructive, in my view, in a world where the pursuit of academic excellence has often overshadowed other aspects of a student's development. The recognition and acknowledgement this afternoon presents an instructive opportunity to reevaluate our perspective on sports and how we can integrate it in a structured manner into our academy. Certainly the sports department, there is a strong view that's held, which I support, that the age-old notion that sports can be a distraction from academics is undergoing a radical transformation. Solidifying the idea of an athletic subculture in the mid-1980s, for those who follow sports closely, we would have witnessed the emergence of a noble research initiative in Southern California. And this initiative was known as PASS, P-A-S-S. The meaning of that acronym, promoting achievement in school through sports. And it included tertiary education. That initiative strategically integrated sports into the educational framework in tertiary institutions with the aim of elevating the standard of academic accomplishment. It came up with compelling data that confined the affirmative impact of university-based sports participation on the enhancement of scholastic performance that was seen in the reflection of grades. We've just had a convocation exercise in November last year. And in preparing for my brief remarks, I attempted to analyze the academic performance with our active athletes on this campus, at Berbice, and our 5 centers of the IDCE. And I was pleasantly surprised, actually, to see that our active student athletes were receiving accumulative grade point averages of between 2.7 and 3.5. And I want to use this opportunity to commend, and please join me in congratulating our student athletes for that excellent performance. We are moving away from the notion or the perception at the University of Guyana that sports, once considered a mere extracurricular activity, is now being acknowledged by the administration, by students themselves, as a vital component of the students' holistic growth. And I'm excited by the policy that is going to be inclusive, that would be informed by consultation across stakeholders. Dr. Eiffel found an excellent facilitator, Professor Maguire, who has had experiences in this in North America and in the Caribbean. And we look forward in the next month to 2 months in an inclusive sports policy development that can only rebound to the benefit of this institution and our students. Finally, I wanted to congratulate our student athletes, those who have excelled over the last academic year, 22-23, to thank with tremendous sincerity our coaches, the support that we have gotten from PACE, the Office of the Vice Chancellor, amidst challenging financial and other constraints, our teams that participated locally, regionally, and internationally excelled. That is the message that we should be sending to the rest of our community. And we've kept it relatively quiet, but let's blow our trumpet and let's encourage our athletes as they forge to greater heights. As in the words of a Deputy Vice Chancellor who once served here, who died, Father Malcolm Rodriguez, in addressing one of these functions, used the Latin expression, and I'm quoting him now, "Quo non ascendum," when translated into English, means to what heights may we not ascend. Please, let us get to those heights as quickly as we can. God bless you and thank you very much.
I would like to now invite our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed Martin, to share with us some remarks. Professor.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Skeet. And I wish to stand upon the protocols already established and to say a special welcome in particular to our athletes who have won prizes, the coaches, and all those who have supported them in this journey. This last weekend, I had the distinct privilege to visit, on my own request, a university, an entire university that was dedicated to sports. This was in Cuba, the country that has produced over 80% of the Olympic medalists in this region for a long time. The reason why I asked to see this facility and to visit, because I went for a conference, that's something totally different, was because I am so very serious about supporting the work that is being done in other parts of the university by DBC Eiffel, by the registry and by our sports committee, and of course our sports, very tiny sports coordinating unit, soon to be expanded, I would hope, is because we don't just want to support athletes who are doing sports now. We want to make sure that we have an infrastructure, that we understand the infrastructure, we understand the academic and policy architecture, and we understand the way in which human beings who are able to excel and do the things that these athletes are able to do, what kind of an enabling environment is required for them to do this. And the reason why I find this very important is because this is a country that, if you look at it from a particular perspective, it would seem as if it was stuck in the 1970s. It's not a country that has a tremendous amount of physical resources. They're not money wealthy. But yet, something in their system is able to help them to identify, groom, support, and create these athletes who excel internationally. And to me, one of the very important things about planning and leading and being able to actualize our dreams and our visions is to be able to understand and find partners who are very similar to us in terms of or their experiences or their conditions. As much as I would love to see it, UG is not likely to have huge millions of dollars in the very near future to put into sports. But we will have some money to put into sports, and we will use our intellect and our friends in all parts of the world, including Brazil, including the US and Canada, to help us to build the infrastructure we need so our athletes can, one, be identified, two, we have the architecture for them in terms of policy, you've heard about that already, three, we have the teaching programs for them, the academic programs, so when they are no longer able to perform as athletes, they're able to teach and pass on and earn from what they love. And three, four, the physical facilities that they need to do their work. In this regard, a team will be here. We signed an MOU with that university, and a team will be here to perform some diagnostics within 1 month on what it is that we will be able to do. And some of the things that, some of the disciplines that we're talking about at this moment are sports facilities management. So we're hearing about all these stadia and all these facilities that will be created in the country, but how are those managed? What are the things that are needed for them? 2, sports medicine. 3, coaching and teaching sports in several disciplines. And of course, sports policy, right? So I would expect that all of you who are here would be involved in that. We are also looking at the physical conditions for sport on campus. We have the semblance of a gym, but in about 2 months' time, you'll have a much, much more futuristic gym on campus, because we are working with a particular store that is going to be the brand sponsor for the gym that's going to bring in a lot more equipment. So I guess the gym is going to be a place to be in another 2 months. So that's one. You will note that what we know as the tarmac, which is something that you always had football and not football, basketball and so on there, but it was quite a dangerous proposition. That has been done over, and that is going to be shedded, because one of the things that we recognize is that our athletes, especially the basketballers and those who play things like table tennis and so on, they're increasingly getting, the space that they've used in the past is increasingly being used up for other things, and they're not able to get the practice time and space that they need. So the reason why that place was designed the way it is, that the roof is going 42 feet up high, so that the basketball is going to be able to bounce and not shatter anything. So it's being prefabbed. So in about the end of this month, or maybe half of next month, because the rain has stopped us a couple of things, we should see the roof going up, and it should be reopened again for people to play sports and so on. And the project for the field, which has been kind of stymied because of the pump that's supposed to drain the field, is one that is ongoing, but that's a huge amount of money. Now, why am I telling you all of these things? Because a lot of what is happening has not been, unfortunately, transmitted to the student population yet. We tend to like to announce things after they happen, and not while they're happening. So when they're not while they're happening, you think that nothing is happening until you see it happening. And that may be a particular style of mine, which is I don't like to announce things unless they're done, just in case they don't get done for some reason or another. But just letting you know that that is in place. So the other thing that we instituted this year were 4 sports scholarships, UG sports scholarships. 2 have been, well, not awarded, they've been offered to Berbice, and 2 in Georgetown. So the Georgetown Cricket Club has 1, and the Berbice Cricket Club has another. So they're in the process, I think, of choosing their athletes. There are 2 others that will be open to any athlete who comes to the university who is eligible to apply for it, a national or regional athlete, and they will get full tuition. It doesn't matter which program they're in. So these are some of the things that we have been doing. The other thing that is a very exciting thing for me, and we did this with culture and the arts when we had UG's Got Talent. And the reason why I am speaking about sports and culture together is because they kind of are similar in the way in which they could be marketed. Although one requires, different infrastructure and so on than the other. But when we did our UG's Got Talent last year, the first time we did it, we did a pay-per-view version online. And while it was a new thing, I was really surprised at how many people actually from overseas, alumni, their friends, their family, and so on, from overseas, actually signed on and paid the $1, I think it was $2 we asked for, as a test to do this. Why am I saying this? Because during COVID, when the basketball team and I were trying to work out where they're going to practice, and they were still persevering and doing their games, and coming out champions, not only here but in other parts of the region. One of the things that was being asked when I was sending around the flyers was, can we see this on television, or can we see this online? Because there are quite a number of old UG students and staff, alumni, who are all over the world but who are still interested in sports. And so the collaboration between the Center for Communication Studies students and their sports journalists who they're grooming, and the University of Guyana's sports department, I think is something that is really worthy of developing, so that we can actually stream your sporting events, build an audience for you, and make some money off of those games. But we really have to get very good, because I don't want us to be losing on television and on that's not a good idea. I like us to win. If we lose quietly and we fix it and then we come back and win, but we're not into that bad branding. So we really have to make sure that the coaching and so on is supported. Also, the last thing I want to say this afternoon is last year because this is the first year that we have the return of the face-to-face sports awards, because for 3 or 4 years during COVID, we didn't have any. And the sports awards used to be a very big, fancy, glitzy thing. And these persons who came in during COVID don't know that these things used to be a glitzy thing. So I'm announcing now that next year, this has to be a glitzy thing. It used to happen in the night. This place had dinner. They don't have the funds for this, so we'll get it done at the end of this year. No, we'll get it done this year because they're working on small foods. But this is it's supposed to be a big, very celebratory event. And that's the reason why, at least to get your photographs out there and a story out there, we had to have the video to make sure that you get your creds for the work you do. We were supported this year by some unusual, I'm finishing now. He's letting me know. All right, I'm finishing. Okay, so this year we were supported by some unusual, last year, by some unusual donors who came forward. some of them with a fairly large amount of money to send our athletes to China, to help to send them to Trinidad and other places. But this relationship that was going very well was marred in part by some conduct that should not have happened. And so I'm really very glad to hear about the sports policy and the ethics policy that we are going to create, because I asked for this to be created over 2 years ago when something happened with some students that we needed to have a policy to cover, because if people don't know what is expected, we can't hold them to a standard. So they need to know. So I'm really hoping that this consultative process that we're doing is not going to take another 2 years, because you're starting to travel again and to have meets again, and we want to make sure that even if we have a draft, something that is, just a quick thing that is a work in progress in place, that's there. So all the athletes and everybody knows what we expect and how to behave. So I want to thank those sponsors, even though that little bit of a wrinkle did cause some trouble. We're into rebuilding that relationship again. So I'd like to still thank them publicly for their commitment to sports and to seeing athletes grow. There are 4 sets of sponsors who know themselves, but also to the ones who are coming on board for the first time this year to work on the gym and other to help us develop the what we call the feel out there and so on, and to help us with the redesigning of our sports gear, because we need good, nice, glitzy sports gear so we look good when we're going somewhere. Not only are you to be good, perform well, but you got to look good too, right? And we know y'all are gorgeous, but clothes got to look good too. So that aspect of it, and also the return of our sports meet this year, which we were hoping to do on our own field, still hoping, but if not, we have to go somewhere else. In this particular year, we will expect that by the middle of the year, you'll see these new programs that we're talking about, even if in their first form, as a modular form for certificates for instructors and others, and then we build them out. So it's possible for you to get a minor in something that you like to do, even if you're a doctor or you're studying to be something else. But I want you to know that UG is not unaware of the limitations that we have, but we also are working really hard towards making sure that you are better equipped as athletes. First, we are identifying you from the time you apply, so you can now tell us what sport you're in. Before, we never used to do that. Or if you're even anything else, a singer, dancer, anything, we want to know in advance so we could find you and put you in places with others and to link you to the opportunities that are there. And finally, I want to also commend the partnership with the Guyana Olympic Association, with whom we signed an MOU recently, and who, as you know, some of you, is looking for an intern from UG to spend 1 year with them. They're now reviewing 12 applications that came in over the last few days. We've been sending them to them as they've asked for them. So that person is going to be very lucky, whoever gets it, because they're going to travel almost next week to some part of the world, and they'll be doing a lot of things. They'll be getting some money. But most importantly, they're going to be helping us with the association, with the GCC and other clubs to build our own sports program and support what it is you're doing in a more robust way. So I want to congratulate all of you who are here this afternoon. Congratulations for winning. Those who are not here, or those who don't win, I just find not winning to be a challenge, but only once. If you continuously don't win, that's not a challenge, that's a problem. But if you don't win one time, you have something to aspire to, some people really need the challenge, they need something to say, okay, right, here's what I'm going to go for. So if you didn't quite win this year, or if you didn't get the top prize this year, fine, you're athletes, you're competitive, and you're able to rise above that and move on. Congratulations to you, and I want to say again, echoing the registrar, Our special thanks to the coaches who have given a specific, dedicated, passionate service to the university. And without them, I think many of us would not see the games that we see and so on. And finally, I would hope that in our marketing campaign, which we're going to design now, not only with the pay-per-view, but also with ensuring that we try to drive, buy tickets to ensure that students get to watch your games and get to watch what you're doing, that you are also going to help us to identify those who are interested in sports and who would be interested in building an audience for sports, and also in supporting young people. Because the young people, we have a little school at the back of the university with children up to 7 years old, some of them quite athletic. We've been watching their sports games, and so it's been nice for you to also interact with them from time to time, as well as people in the community who use sports as a way of being able to focus and to, as an avenue of overcoming challenges and vulnerabilities that they are born with. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, and I apologize for elongating your program again for the afternoon, but I hope it was worth it.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. No need for apologies. We welcome your remarks. So, we would like to invite yet again Ms. Sherry Ann Monroe, who will share a musical number with us. Ms. Monroe.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm trying to hold my breath, let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. Set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? Take my hand, you share this with me, 'cause darling, without you, all the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky would never be enough, never be enough. Still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it will never be enough, never be enough for me. Never, 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 never.
Thank you very much, Ms. Monroe, for that splendid rendition. Let's please give her another round of applause. What a wonderful voice she has. A lot of talent at the University of Guyana. Okay, so I will now call on our staff from the registry, Ms. Karen Wills, to introduce our guest speaker. Ms. Wills.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Dr. King, Senior Assistant Registrar of Student Services. She has asked me to convey our regrets for not being here today. She's a little under the weather. All protocols being established, I wish to acknowledge the presence of some very honorable persons in our midst. Vice Chancellor, Professor Mohammed, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ifil, our Registrar, Dr. Graves-Andy, our Deputy Registrar, Dr. Veloza, our Assistant Dean, Education and Humanities, Ms. Hunter, Dr. Murray, IDCE, Ms. Hopkinson of Institute of Resilience, and that long name. We also have Professor Gomes with us, visiting from UGBC, Director, colleagues, all students, recipients, welcome. It is my task to introduce to you our guest speaker for today's award ceremony. It is an honor to have this very special invitee here with us to deliver this afternoon's feature address. She has been involved in sports. She has been involved in sports administration since 2001, and that is over some 22 plus years. And she's on the executive of the Dorado Speed Swim Club ever since. She's also on the executive board of the Guyana Amateur Swimming Association for a decade, the vice president of the Guyana Olympic Association from 2012 all the way up to 2023. She's a doping control officer for 15 years. She has also received the National Award for her contribution to sports, that is the Golden Arrow of Achievement Award, and she achieved that in 2016. And last but certainly not least, she participated in track and field during her youthful years. I don't think she can do that now. We can see this individual is very versatile, wearing many hats in the arena of sports. So without any further delays, I wish to invite no other than Dr. Karen Pilgrim, who will deliver the feature address to you. Dr. Pilgrim.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. All protocols having been observed, I will not go through the long list of dignitaries here today, but just to say I'm really happy that so many people from the upper echelons of the University of Guyana are here. It answers some of the questions, in fact, that I intended to raise in my very short speech. What makes it even more useful is Dr. Graves-Andy and Professor Paloma Mohammed, sorry, I only know her as Mohammed, have already answered most of the questions that that are in my mind concerning sport at University of Guyana. So we all know the value of sport. I think I'm preaching to the choir here, as they say. Teamwork, discipline, time management, even mental health benefits at all levels of sport and physical education, fair play in terms of Guyana, where, as we all know, even if we don't always want to talk about it, one of our major problems is our racial divisions. Sport is the perfect vehicle to bring us together. I was saying to Dr. Eiffel earlier that in the sport in which she and I are together most, swimming, once those swimmers put on their swimsuits and their caps, you can't even tell what race they are. So sorry if you have any insecurities in that regard. They're useless to you then, because we're all one once we're in sport. Also, as was mentioned, I think when Professor Paloma was speaking, there are so many opportunities now in sport that were not there before. Mr. Skeet is a prime example with his master's in sports science, and we have others among us not in this room, unfortunately, but in Guyana, who have studied sport in Cuba and have come out with bachelor's and master's in sport and sport-related fields. I had the benefit of growing up in Jamaica. All my high school years were in Jamaica. That's where not sure where they got that athlete in her youth story from. We'll deal with Jaime later. But that's where I did indeed participate in track and field. And I can attest to the fact that in the 1970s, when I was in high school, so long ago, I have friends who even then were using sport as a conduit to further their education. Many of the persons in sport, at least at my school, were not wealthy, but they were able to use sport to get them into universities. At that time, would have been universities in the US, but for many years, UWI has offered scholarships to athletes. So I'm glad to hear that's happening also at UG. My own personal experience, where in the university that I studied in the States, was not by any means a sports university. The only football game I remember them winning was, I don't know much about football, but I think they cheated to win homecoming match, and they were allowed to because it was our homecoming. But even there, you had to do at least 2 semesters of sport. Those were compulsory courses for which you were graded and which were part of your overall GPA. So I, who knew nothing about volleyball, for example, was able to do a semester of volleyball, and then I stuck in a semester swimming because I already knew how to swim, so that was easy for me. My personal experiences with UG have not been so good. I'm happy to say I think it's before any of the persons who were in this room were here, or certainly the ones involved in sport. And that was of a swimmer who was always like just one layer below being able to participate in international competition, high-level international competition. She was here studying, and when she asked for permission to go to the World Championships, she was told she had to make a decision. Did she want to study at UG, or she wanted to be in sport? What was it that she really wanted? And she lost that one opportunity that she had to go to the World Championships. I'm happy to say that I have, lived long enough, making myself sound really old, lived long enough to see a change in that. I have been to a couple of games, most recently the Commonwealth Games in 2022, where there were quite a few University of Guyana students who participated, and others since then, where it just required a letter to UG, and within a day or two, permission was received for those athletes to go. So times are changing at UG in terms of sport, and it really makes me happy. I was really happy to hear of the participation of UG in the university games last year. That, I must say, I may be speaking out of turn, but I'm speaking, I would say, as an interested outsider. So maybe I don't know everything, but it was the first time that I had heard of UG being in those games. Over the years, I've gotten accustomed to hearing of UG doing well in rugby, in basketball. but that seems to have declined in recent years. Again, I'm glad that Professor Paloma spoke of those things coming back. What I really want to say today is Registrar Dr. Graves-Zandi suggested that I might be speaking to the athletes, but I'm really speaking to university, if you don't mind, because I want to challenge UG to be the leaders in sport and education and having student athletes in Guyana. I want to ask UG to establish, or maybe it's re-establish, sports clubs, to have annual scheduled interfaculty games, and with no disrespect to the sports identified here today that I saw in the program, I think many more should be included. I can vouch for the fact that you have many of our top swimmers at UG at the moment, but I don't think there's a swimming program, and the pool is, we can walk to it from here. Football, let's hear more again about UG in football, more again about UG, or continue to hear good things about UG in basketball and track and field. So many track and field athletes here, of our top athletes. Table tennis, our top table tennis players, I think I just saw one of them. UG has the athletes ready-made for them, so it's just a matter of marshalling them. But again, Dr. Paloma has assured us that that will happen, so I'm so glad to hear. So of course, give support to national athletes going to represent Guyana at games. It was really sad for me, again, my reference point is swimming, when we had swimmers, won Carifta competition, swimmers who had to say they could not go because they had exams coming up. But yet we had a swimmer based in Trinidad representing Guyana at those games, and her school in Trinidad made arrangements for her to do her exams while she was at Carifta to get, my phone has died, to get her coursework sent to her. And so seeing that disparity between what we were not doing for our own and what a school in Trinidad was doing for us was really heartbreaking. So I ask UG to be the leader in showing that our athletes can be supported, exams can be deferred or done online. Coursework, well, of course, COVID has taught us how easy it is to do coursework online. So athletes, there should be no reason for athletes to be prevented from representing Guyana. Most importantly, I want to ask you to showcase your successes. I know so many athletes, student athletes at UG, who are doing exceedingly well, extraordinarily well, Olympic level well, and are also doing well in their educational life. But I don't think we hear enough about it from UG itself. You might see the athlete themselves on Facebook showing when they have graduated, when they've gotten their masters, but we're not seeing it from UG. And I think if university decides that they're going to lead the way and really showcase these athletes, it can show our primary schools, our secondary schools, that sport and education are one, that the one complements the other. Again, as I said, sorry, like a recurring decimal with this, but my frame of reference is swimming. And I am still with the swim club that accidentally got me into sport in the first place. And we're already hearing of 10, 11-year-olds whose parents are saying, sorry, my son or daughter won't be swimming until after common entrance. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's 2 hours a week, but still they have to stop because the parents don't feel, or the schools don't feel, that the two things can be done together. So I think if our premier educational institution, the University of Guyana, leads the way, there's no doubt that others will follow. So that is what I wish to leave with you today. See, very short. I want to leave with you today. Be the leaders. You can be. I've heard so many good things today. I'm glad I came, not as guest speaker, because as you maybe can tell, this is not a natural or comfortable position for me to be in. But I was so glad to hear of the many things coming for the University of Guyana in the way of sports, so I will now look out for them and in whatever way I can hold UG accountable, but lead the way. If UG shows that it can be done, that athletes can also do well in school, then others will follow. So congratulations to all of those who are honored here today, but congratulations also to those who are maybe not honored here today, but are participating in sports and are showing us all that the education and sports work together and are possible. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pilgrim, for those encouraging words and also challenging the university to step up to the plate and really throw our support behind our student athletes, and not just student athletes, but there are some sterling staff at the university as well who are excellent in sports at the highest level. So it is more of a family affair, the University of Guyana's family in sports, that really needs our support. And as the Vice Chancellor would have shared with you, the university has started to take steps to move in the right direction to really bring that support, bring a buzz back to sports at the university with the support of PACE, registry, bursary, and all the different departments, sports department. So there are big things to look forward to in the future. But enough of that for the featured moment of this afternoon's program. We would like to get into the presentation of awards for our student athletes and staff. For the academic year, as you would see in your programs, we were in the sporting disciplines that were more so active, included basketball. The squad, the basketball team led by Coach Wilson, his staff, and the enthusiastic players, both male and female, would have done, toiled endlessly to raise their standard during that period. Also, we would have had chess. We have among us, as Dr. Pilgrim rightly indicated, some very high-level chess players from some of the nation's best at the University of Guyana. And some of those will be recognized today. The cricket team, we have some work to do to return cricket to the glory days, but we will be honoring the cricket team from UGBC and the Faculty of Education, dominoes, and Scrabble, the two other sporting disciplines that we have today. So we will start with the interfaculty cricket for the academic year 2022-2023. The champion of that competition was the runner-up of that competition was the Faculty of Education and Humanities. So we would like to invite from the Faculty of Education and Humanities, the captain of the team, Mr. Ian Beaton. And we would just like to ask to present the award to Mr. Beaton, the Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Education. Yes. So we would also like to present medals to those members of the team that are here. So we invite the rest of the team from the Faculty of Education and Humanities to come up and collect their medals. Mr. Rajendra Prasad, Alexander Clark, Odella Hilkin, Kareem Damon, Colville Kellerman, Ms. Keisha Higgins, and a special thank you for the females of the Faculty of Education that took up the challenge to get the females of the University of Guyana involved in sports for participating. I see Ms. Hilkin is here with us, so congratulations to you, Ms. Hilkin. I hope that you serve as an example and a motivation for the other females at the university to get back active in sports. Thank you very much, the Faculty of Education and Humanities, and we look forward to your continued participation. Just a quick note, I know that we're running a little bit extended because we started a bit late, so if we can have the group photographs and so after the ceremonies, that would be much appreciated. The champion faculty for the inter-faculty cricket competition academic year 2022-2023 goes to the University of Guyana Tain campus, or we refer to as UGBC campus. We invite you, Captain Mr. Keon Showers, to come up and collect the winning trophy, and we ask Professor Gomes if we can do the honors for us. Thank you very much, Professor Gould. And to collect their medals, the team of the UGBC, including Mr. Shiv Hari Prasad, Vivek Hari Prasad, Rondell Corlett, and all the members who would have come down for the ceremony. Mr. Devendranath Sunath as well. Again, a special thanks to UGBC for traveling all those miles, getting involved, and really showing your mettle, and showing that the Borbies campus is really a powerhouse in cricket in the country. We would also like to, even though cricket is a team game, we would also like to highlight some individual performances in the tournament. The Best Batsman award was given to Mr. Philbert Wilberg from UGBC. I think someone will be collecting on his behalf. And the Best Bowler Award goes to Mr. Devindranath Sunat of UGBC. Uh, UGBC, I ain't mean to be biased, but if y'all gonna clean up everything, we ain't gonna invite y'all back. But I think this is a challenge to the education faculty and all the other faculties. Step your game up. Okay, so we move on to the next category of awards. University of Guyana King and Queen Chess Tournament for the academic year 2022-2023. The Chess Queen, and before we announce the awards, we'd like to ask Dr. Karen Pilgrim to please present the awards in this category. The runner-up in the Chess Queen category, Miss Brittany Boville. Miss Boville is not here. Well, yes, Ms. Dr. Pilgrim will keep it on her behalf. And the Chess Queen for 2022-2023, Ms. Sasha Sharif. As previously mentioned, Ms. Boville, especially Ms. Sharif, one of the top chess players in Guyana. And we move on to the male category. Runner-up for Chess King, Mr. Murphy Bagat. There were some quite intense games, both on the male and female side. Some real head scratches for the chess tournament. And we invite the Chess King, University of Guyana Chess King 2022-2023, Mr. Kieran Sandiford, who also happens to be the junior national champion of Guyana. So we move on to the Scrabble event, University of Guyana King and Queen Scrabble Tournament. And we would like to ask our esteemed registrar to kindly present the trophies in this category. Registrar. Yes. This sporting event, the Scrabble sporting event, also saw some intense competition, almost coming down to bitter tears. We would like to invite the runner-up for Chess Queen 2022-2023, Miss Bohemi Babulal. Scrabble, sorry, my apologies. Scrabble competition. The University of Guyana has some real wordsmiths among us, Miss Babulal included. And the winner of the Scrabble tournament, the Scrabble Queen, who unfortunately, for health reasons, is not with us today, we would ask Ms. Babulal, she's indicated, ask Ms. Babulal to collect her trophy, Ms. Cassidy Burnett. The Scrabble King. For the Scrabble Kings category. The runner-up was none other than UG's own staff member, Mr. Kwesi Benjamin. I know Mr. Benjamin indicated an interest, but for work-related issues, he said he might be late. So I think Mr. Dos Santos, we'd ask Mr. Dos Santos to Mr. Dos Santos to collect on his behalf. And the Scrabble King from the College of Medical Sciences, Mr. Joel Passad. Mr. Passad's performance in the tournament was quite dominant. At this moment, we would like to acknowledge the presence of DVC Cummins who has joined us. Thank you for joining us, Professor Cummins. And we would like to ask you to present the trophies in the next category, which is the Interfaculty Dominoes category for the year 2022-2023. The runner-up for that competition was University of Guyana staff team. And we would like to ask Mr. Allen, Rennick Allen. Mr. Allen stepped out. So Mr. Dos Santos will collect on behalf of the University of Guyana staff team. And the champions for the Interfaculty Dominoes competition, the College of Behavioral Sciences and Research with Captain Orinthia Bishop. Kindly step forward to collect your team's trophies. We would also ask the other members of the team to kindly step forward and collect their medals. And I must say that we're not shy to say that we were beaten by a team that was mostly filled with women. And Mr. Jamal supported the young ladies quite well. Thank you to the team from Cobras. Thank you very much, DVC Comment. For the next award, we would like to ask our esteemed Vice Chancellor to hand out these prize. In the category of Outstanding Team Performance Academic Year 2022-2023, the Sports Department and the University of Guyana would like to acknowledge the University of Guyana Trojans basketball team for their outstanding performances during that time. The team led by Coach Wilson would have won, among other things, the Youth Basketball Tertiary Knockout Tournament for 2022, which would have been their second such title in a row. Among the winners, we would like to ask members of that team and the staff to come forward and collect their their medals. Mr. Shaquan Gill, Jetta Harris, Jashawn Bailey, Shavel August, Craig Harley Quinn, Tariq Duncan, Kareem Whitney, Alroy Nurse, Hassani Hazelwood, Shaquille Bob Semple, Khalil Farrington, Timothy Richmond, Leandre Abrams, and the assistant coach, Mr. Rudy Sampson. An excellent job on behalf of the basketball team. We would like to ask the Vice Chancellor to remain, please. Our next award or recognition goes to the chess club who participated in an online championship held for university clubs all over the world. And the team participated and represented the university very well. Some of our members came in the top 20 of a number, over 300 students that participated in this competition. So, the certificates of recognition goes to Ms. Sasha Sharif, Ms. Jessica Callender, Mr. Akili Theophile, Ms. Charlita Campaign, Mr. Andre Jagnandan, Mr. Tristan Carter, and Coach Davion Mars. For the next recognition of sports student athletes, Vice Chancellor, this one you had a whole lot to do with, so it is only fitting that you hand out the last bit. I know you're quite busy. The World University Games 2021 Shendu delegation, the University of Guyana sent a delegation of 4 athletes and to 6 athletes to the games, 4 track and field, 2 for table tennis. And we would like to recognize the performances and the participation of those athletes. So we ask Mr. Nolex Holder, Mr. Holder did quite well at the games, recording personal bests in his 100 and 200 events at the championships. We would also invite Mr. Shamar Veloza, sterling performance by Mr. Veloza as well during the championships. We would like to invite Mr. Elijah Johnson, one of our table tennis stars in Guyana. Mr. Niran Bisu. Seems like Mr. Bisu was unable to make it. Miss Leonie Adams. And Miss Melinda Williams. Miss Williams was also unable to make it. So we definitely make sure those who are not present are able to collect their prizes and certificates. Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. Moving speedily along, we would like to present in absentia. I want to believe this is the first such award, University of Guyana Women in Sport Appreciation Special Award to Miss Ruth Sanmagan. I will ask Mr. Dos Santos just to highlight some of Ms. Sanmagan's participation while at the University of Guyana.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocol observed. Ms. Ruth Samagan would have participated in every year annual track and field championship. And at those championships, when she wasn't the sprint queen, she was crowned the female champion athlete for the year. And of her 5 years, she was crowned 4 years as the woman champion of the year. She also represented the university at our local meets and at the World Inter-University Games, where she would have won, I think, 2 silver and 1 bronze. Ms. Ruth would have also won the female champion athlete at the local inter-tertiary championship in Guyana at the Lenora Stadium twice. So Ruth is very deserving of the Sportswoman of the Year for the University of Guyana. Put your hands together for Ms. Ruth, Dr. Ruth Samagan.
Thank you, Mr. Dos Santos. At this time, for the last presentation of the afternoon, we would like to invite Professor Cummins, DVC Cummins, to hand out the awards, the certificates to female participation in sports, as the sports department and the University of Guyana continue to encourage female participation in sports. And this year's awards, this year's certificates, go all to the Faculty of Education and Humanities. So we would like to invite Ms. Odella Hilkin, and Ms. Keisha Higgins. See, Ms. Higgins is not here. So I want to say again, Thank you to all of the student athletes and staff that would have participated in our activities during the year 2022-2023. We want to state publicly our special appreciation for all the entities, organizations, persons that would have assisted the University of Guyana, the sports department, registry, and everyone in getting sports up and running. We want to give thanks to the Guyana Police Force Sports Secretariat, the National Sports Commission, Transport and Harbor Sports Club, the Georgetown Cricket Association, Queen's College, the Athletics Association of Guyana, Youth Basketball Guyana Organization, Strikers Domino Club, the Guyana Olympic Association, the University of Guyana Registry, and the University of Guyana PACE Unit. Special thanks to all those persons that would have assisted greatly in making all these activities a reality. We would like to have one last presentation, not least, honoring past performances that the students or that could not have collected their awards. So we ask a representative from the Faculty of Education and Humanities to come forward to collect the Dominoes competition trophy, winners of the Dominoes competition trophy from year 2019. We would like to ask our Deputy Registrar if he could kindly hand over the trophy to the Faculty of Education and Humanities. I would like to say Deputy Registrar is quite a domino phenom in his own right. Okay, so quickly we would like to invite all the recipients of awards, certificates, medals to come on stage for a quick group photograph before we have the vote of thanks. Sports in any context, we know cannot exist without, first and foremost, yes, the participants or the athletes, but also it can't exist without the dedication and tireless work of the coaches and instructors that guide the student athletes. The sports department and University of Guyana would like to present our coaches with a token of our appreciation for their tireless work during the academic year 2022-2023. So we would like to invite Coach Warren Wilson, the basketball team, Coach Rudy Sampson, also from basketball, Coach Davian Mars, from chess, Coach Mark Scott from athletics, to come and collect a token of our appreciation. Coach Wilson, Vice Chancellor, if you can do the honors for us, please. Coach Sampson. Coach Davion Mars, and we would invite Mr. Nolex Holder to collect on behalf of Coach Mark Scott. Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. To bring the ceremony to a close, we would like to invite once again Ms. Odella Hinkin to give the vote of thanks.
All right, good afternoon once again. All protocols observed. As we stand here at the culmination of another remarkable year in the University of Guyana's sporting activities, we are humbled and honored to express our deepest gratitude to those who have made the annual Sports Award ceremony for the academic year 2022-2023 possible. This afternoon, we celebrate not just individual triumphs, but the collective spirit that defines our sporting community. Through unwavering commitment and relentless pursuit of excellence, each of you, our student athletes, has brought glory to yourselves and illuminated the name of our beloved university on regional and international stages. Victories on the field, court, and track are testaments not only to talent, but also to the unwavering dedication of many individuals who work tirelessly behind the scenes. Therefore, before we conclude this momentous ceremony, I would like to acknowledge those who have made it all possible. First and foremost, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to Professor Paloma Mohamed Martin, our esteemed Vice Chancellor, and our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Eiffel. Your unwavering support for student development, both academic and physical, serves as a beacon of inspiration. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing the importance of sports in fostering a holistic university experience. Next, we sincerely thank Dr. Nigel Graves-Zandi, our registrar, Dr. Valosa, our Deputy Registrar, Dr. Daniela King, Senior Assistant Registrar, Student Welfare, and Ms. Karen Wills, Student Services Coordinator. Your tireless efforts in ensuring the sports program's smooth functioning and dedication to student well-being are truly commendable. A round of applause for the general staff of the Registry and Students' Welfare Department. Your dedication to smooth operations and unwavering support for student athletes are the invisible threads that bind this community together. We know your efforts often go unnoticed, but we want you to know that we thank you. Mr. Jaime Skeet, our sports organizer, and Mr. Osafa dos Santos, our assistant sports organizer. Your passion for sports is infectious. You have poured your hearts and souls into nurturing our athletes, organizing events, and ensuring their every need is met. Thank you for being their mentors and their cheerleaders. Let's not forget the incredible staff of the sports department. You are the heart and soul of UG Athletics. Your passion, expertise, and unwavering support for our student athletes inspire us all. Thank you for fostering a culture of excellence and creating an environment where our athletes can thrive. Thank you. We also sincerely thank Dr. Troy Brown, our Deputy Dean, for his unwavering support and guidance throughout our athletes' training. Your commitment to the well-being and development of our student athletes is truly commendable. He is currently facilitating an assessment workshop at the Tain campus, so we thank Ms. Hunter, our other Deputy Dean, for representing the Faculty of Education and Humanities, since our Dean, Dr. Rosalind Khan, is also at the Tain campus. Thank you, Ms. Hunter. So this evening's celebration would be incomplete without acknowledging the invaluable insights of our guest speaker, Dr. Karen Pilgrim. Your words, Dr. Pilgrim, resonated deeply with us, reminding us that the pursuit of excellence transcends the boundaries of sports, shaping us into well-rounded individuals who contribute meaningfully to society. As a board member of the Regional Anti-Doping Organization, you champion fair play and ethical conduct, values we hold dear at the University of Guyana. Thank you. So finally, we want to express our immense gratitude to all of you, the athletes, coaches, and supporters. Your hard work, dedication, determination, and sportsmanship make UG Sports truly special. We are confident that you will continue to make us proud on and off the field. So as we conclude this ceremony, let us carry the spirit of sportsmanship, camaraderie, and excellence beyond these walls. Remember that the lessons learned on the field, teamwork, integrity, resilience, and the pursuit of excellence transcend sport and empower us to become better individuals, better Guyanese, and global citizens. Let the fire you ignited this afternoon burn brightly, illuminating your paths and inspiring future generations of UG athletes. Remember, you are not just athletes. You are ambassadors of our university, carrying the torch of excellence wherever you go. Thank you.
And with that, we come to the end of our ceremony and long-awaited return to our annual sports awards. So we hope to see you and more of you again at the end of 2024. So I would like to invite you to partake in some drinkables and snacks before you leave. Thank you very much for coming.